Uh, as you guys can see, I lost $5,000 on a single trade. And in this video, I'm going to explain why I took the trade and why my best strategy that I use all the time let me down. If you see the line graph over here, this is March, all my profits for March, and you can see we had a little bit of a dip. This was the $5,000 loss. And I'll explain if I'm quitting trading. So let's get into this video. It's going to be pretty interesting. So first, what was my best strategy that I was talking about, and why did it actually let me down this time? Well, my best strategy is a strategy that I've used for over 3 years now, and it only takes about 30 minutes per day, which is one of the main reasons I like it, because I can just continue on with my day and have a lot of free time. And it's made me a lot of wins, and I'm very proud of these wins, but it can also fail at times. And that's something that you're going to learn. And just getting better at taking losses is one of the best skills that you can develop, because it gives you armor. Like Minecraft used to have like diamond armor. It gives you armor. So when you do get hurt, it's like whatever. I don't care. I'm still dialed in. Let's go. Let's move on to the next day. If you never take losses, when you do take a loss, you're literally going to go completely mental. And some of you guys have maybe experienced this before, where you literally go mental. You start punching your laptop, you want to throw out the window, you start screaming, you start punching the wall. That can be completely avoided if you just take more losses. Now, I'm not telling you to take more losses. What I'm telling you to do is understand that losses are just part of trading, and that's just how it goes. So the first thing I'll do is I'll explain what my best strategy is in depth so you guys can understand it. And then we're going to look at the mistake that I made and how you can avoid that mistake. So the strategy kind of goes like this. The first thing I do is I find stocks to trade using the gap scanner. This is like the bread and butter of what we do. This is like the main thing. So you just pull up a gap scanner. You can do it on TradingView. You can do it on FinViz. There's plenty of options out there. And you just search for the ones that are gapping up, the stocks that are gapping up, right? It's very simple. The next thing you want to do is you want to focus on only one or maybe two of those gappers. It's very important that you only focus on like a couple. The problem is, when you start focusing on like 5, 6, 7 different stocks, you begin to like not be focused on any of them. And then you're switching here, you're switching there, and then you never make any money. So just focus on one or two of those that you think is going to do really well. The next thing we do is we wait for the bull flag chart pattern. I've mentioned the bull flag in so many of my videos. It is literally my favorite chart pattern. It looks something like this. We have like a move up, we have a little bit of a pullback, and then we enter as it's coming back up. So as the price, you can see, it's beginning to start to retrace. That's when we enter, and then it just keeps squeezing up and up and up, right? Then we wait for another dip, and then as it's going back up, we enter again, and then it keeps squeezing back up. So it's just like kind of like a staircase. We're entering over here, staircase again, we're entering over here. That's the strategy that I just love to trade. That's what the bull flag is. And obviously, the last thing we have to do is just to sell. One very important thing about selling is that you need to just lock in your profits. I know a lot of beginners, the big mistake that they make is they just get way too greedy. So they know that you should sell at a specific point when you see a lot of resistance, but they just get super greedy. Like, no, I need to make more money, or I haven't made a win in weeks, so I need to make this big win, and then they just end up losing a bunch of money. So the best thing you can do is literally just to lock in your profits, be green, and move on with your day. That's the best thing you can do. So now let's get into the big mistake that I made that cost me $5,000. But before that, quick heads up, guys, my free trading course is completely free. We have different modules inside. We have a scanner section, we have an entry section, exit, live trade. There's so much more inside. You can learn my entire strategy inside and out. So if you do want to get that, click the first link in the description and go check it out, guys. I think it'll be very helpful for you guys. So let's talk about what actually went wrong with the trade. Now on the right, I've included a little picture for you guys to see what the trade was like. And you can see it's a normal gapper, right? Stock opens right over here at 9:30, the opening bell. We can see it starts making its way above VWAP, but it constantly finds rejection. How do I know that it finds rejection? We have these topping tails over here, right? These topping tails tell a very big story. They tell you that there's a lot of resistance around about VWAP. So initially, I was very focused on the stock, but after these two topping tails, I started ignoring it, right? Then the stock went down, I completely ignored it. And then it started to make its way back up very, very, very slowly. But again, we had a massive topping tail over here. So I'm like, I don't really know about this stock. It's very dodgy. Let's see what it does. And then eventually it broke past that level and it continued to go up. But what you can notice is we have a very recurring theme. We have constant topping tail after topping tail. Here's another one, and here's another one. So these continuous topping tails tell you that there's a lot of resistance and weakness in the stock. This line, by the way, over here, this little blue line, is pre-market high. So pre-market high is just the highest point in pre-market. And it's a very, very, very important level. And I make sure to always put it into my charts because it's that important, right? So we can see over here that it found resistance pretty much exactly at pre-market high. It went up there, it just could not get past it. And then it just went down. So this was my first massive warning that I kind of ignored, to be honest. It rejected pre-market high very, very, very clearly, right? Not only that, but there was a lot of topping tails before that. We had 1, 2, 3, 4 topping tails before that. And this is something that I almost kind of ignored. The next thing that kind of went wrong, or that I ignored rather, was we had a very clear false breakout. So we can see that the stock was going up. We had a little bit of a pullback on these two candles. And then if you look very closely over here, we can see that it broke above very temporarily, but then it shot back down. And this is what we call a false breakout. So remember, guys, when I said about the bull flag, like it goes up, dips a little bit, and then as it's going back up, that's when I buy. What can also happen is it goes up a little bit and then it goes right back down, right? This is what we call a false breakout. And that's exactly what happened on this candle right over here. So I didn't enter that trade because I saw this resistance. I said, no, I'm not comfortable. So I didn't enter it. But I still made the mistake of entering later on, right? So this was my second big warning that I kind of decided to just ignore, which was that big false breakout. So now we have a lot of resistance. We can see it's finding a lot of resistance also on pre-market high, and we just had a false breakout. And that too on a lot of volume, right? So you can see that things are just beginning to slowly add up. We have all these different factors which are telling us one by one that this is not really a great trade. You probably should not take this trade. And this just kind of shows you that even I can make mistakes, right? I don't claim to be the best trader out there. I'm gonna make mistakes, and that's completely fine. So this was kind of what I was expecting, right? I've included a little picture over here, and this is a trade that I took a couple of weeks ago now. And we can see that it's like pretty much a picture perfect setup. Like it does not get better than this. Remember guys, when I said that the bull flag kind of looks like this, kind of like a staircase pattern, kind of like this? This literally looks like a staircase pattern. So this was kind of what I was expecting, right? We have a little pullback over here. I enter as soon as it breaks the previous candle's high, and then just squeezes up and up and up and up. So that's exactly what I was expecting on the previous one, right? So I was expected to get in on the next candle, and then we just continue squeezing up and up and up past pre-market high. Maybe we get a little retest of pre-market high, and then we're right back up. That was the goal, right? That was really what I was expecting, because I've seen these setups a lot of times, and I've seen that a lot of the stocks, they test pre-market high once, they fail, come back down, and then they curve right back up, squeeze right back up. So that was the reason that I took it. And like I said, this was kind of the pattern that I was expecting. For me to enter, immediately squeezes up, right? It finds support again, like you can see over here, it's finding support. It would find support roughly on pre-market high, and then it would continue its way up. That was exactly what I was expecting. So here's the chart, guys. We can see we have the stock over here. We have pre-market high with the line lined out right over here. It's very clear to see. And we have the same stock. So we can see that it starts going up. We have the false breakout on this candle like I was talking about. And I actually entered on this candle over here. So we had the first 1 minute candle to make a new high on this candle. I took that setup. And we can see that it actually made its way all the way up back to pre-market high. So this was my thesis. So I knew it was going to hit pre-market high. But what I wanted it to do was, honestly, I wanted to keep going up. I wanted to keep going up and maybe find some support on pre-market high and then continue going up. That was the goal. So if I kind of draw it out, I wanted to kind of continue going up like this, right? Find support on pre-market high and then continue going back up. That's a terrible drawing, but I hope you get to see what I kind of mean in my head. But that didn't really end up happening, and it kind of just went the complete other way. So it rejected once, the next candle opened and it just started squeezing down, 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 and I had to sell for a small loss, right? I took about a 4.6% loss on the stock. Not a big deal. The best thing you can do when you have a loss is just to keep it as small as possible. Try to limit your losses less than 5%, less than 6%. You should be good. Now, the funny thing is this stock actually made a massive move, but that was later in the day. So like I said, guys, I only trade for the first 30 minutes. So after this point, I was completely uninterested. I literally walked away from my laptop. We can see later on in the day, it starts squeezing up like crazy. And these are the pullbacks that I'm talking about, guys, right? We can see over here, it surges up. We have the perfect, like the picture perfect bull flag. And then look at that squeeze. Like this is amazing, right? Then we have another little pullback over here. And we can see it keeps squeezing up and up and up. Another little pullback over here, keeps squeezing up. So I was only early by a couple of hours. But this is exactly the type of moves we like to see, and exactly the types of moves that I trade. So now the big question, will I quit trading after this $5,000 loss? Of course not. Losses are part of trading, guys, right? The absolute best thing you can do after you take a loss is to analyze that loss. Ask yourself, why did I take that trade? What could I do better? Just like I did this entire video, I analyzed exactly why I should have avoided that trade, not taken it. And that's the way that you actually end up being a better trader. Analyze your mistakes, remember them in your head, and try not to make that mistake later on, right? That's the way that your account continues to grow and you become a better trader week after week after week. Because you're telling your brain, hey, today we made a big mistake, store this in your memory to just never do this again. And the next week, before you take a trade, your brain's like, whoa, stop. We've seen this before. And we've lost money taking this trade. So let's not take this trade. That's how you get better, guys. So I'm not gonna quit trading. This was a small loss. I'm gonna continue going. I'm gonna learn from my mistakes, and that's literally the best I can do. Now, if you guys like the strategy that I just showed you, you guys should definitely join the community. You can see people are making hundreds of dollars every single day trading the exact same strategy. When you join the community, you also get access to the watch list, right? So every day you can see I'm literally telling you guys the exact stocks that I'm gonna be watching. Today, for example, I said waiting for live movers. That shouldn't say liver, it should say live. But live movers is a place where if a stock starts going up, I notify you guys. And again, I'm active in this every single day. When you join the community, you also get access to all of my trade reviews. So every single time I take a trade, whether it's like a win over here or it's a loss, I always show you guys exactly where I enter, exactly where I exit, and it's really beneficial. So if you like the community and you would like to join, then email me at this email over here and I'll try to get you a spot inside. The price will increase every 10 members, so try to get in as soon as you can. If you guys did like this video, then click the video that just popped up and it goes over the strategy in even more depth, shows you guys another example. I truly hope this video was very helpful. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Goodbye, guys.